My beloved, do you think it's an accident that you're hearing my voice right now? No. Heaven planned this moment long before you took your first breath. Here on Holy Voices, we share the whispers of eternity, the messages that change hearts and awaken destinies. If your soul is ready, stay with me, because what you're about to hear might be the very word your spirit has been waiting for. God gives seed to the sower, 2 Corinthians 9 verse 10. Your seed through super thanks, whether $20, $50, or $100, will not return empty. Sow it into holy voices and watch it multiply. Those sick, dishonest government officials who misuse their position of authority against you are the chosen one. Now, with every badge and warrant bearing the full weight of cosmic justice, the raids are coming for them. Divine vengeance is streaming into the physical world like liquid fire as the curtain between realms is rupturing. Less than 1% of people have the special spiritual signature that sets off cosmic defense mechanisms in the event that corrupt systems attack them, according to psychological research. Persecution by power-hungry bureaucrats wasn't a random act of harassment. It was the universe designating you as one of its delegates and putting you to the test by putting you to the test in a fire trial. You're going to have a discovery that will change the way you view every painful moment you've experienced. At the same time, the systematic assault you endured was recharging the divine justice batteries. And now, with the force of lightning striking a conductor, that energy is going to be released. Imagine yourself as a cosmic electricity-gathering spiritual lightning rod. And for those who attempted to touch what is the property of the cosmos itself, the storm is going to break, with disastrous results. What dishonest officials have done to you in secret will be brought to light. When a heavy stone is toppled, all secrets will be revealed like writhing worms. You will witness everything. You'll be fully informed. The files will be confiscated. They are tracking down digital footprints. In chambers where justice no longer bows to corruption but instead stands firmly in your corner, whispered conspiracies against you will be reenacted. To create strong evidence against these dishonest officials, intelligence services are collaborating across departmental lines. Once intended to track your every step, the same surveillance equipment is now being used to record illegal communications. Algorithms using artificial intelligence are examining behavioral patterns to uncover the entire extent of the conspiracy against you. You were selected to observe this cosmic adjustment. The stars themselves have placed you at this exact point in time when the powerful will be overthrown. When the icy grip of justice tightens its hold on those who believed they were impervious, the tools of tyranny will be devastatingly precisely turned against those who employ badges, gavels, and official letterheads to crush the innocent. Your persecution triggered long-standing procedures woven into the very fabric of reality. Until someone who is genuinely chosen is subjected to systematic attacks by corrupt systems, these cosmic protections remain dormant. Once activated, these safeguards start systematically destroying the cause of persecution, making sure that every action performed against you has exponentially more negative effects. Hearings being prepared by congressional oversight committees will reveal abuses of power to the country as a whole. Subpoenas for sworn testimony are being prepared. Experienced prosecutors who are familiar with the thoughts and behaviors of corrupt officials are meticulously creating perjury traps. In public places where the entire world can watch shame play out in real time, lies will be methodically exposed. Like a serpent eating its own story, the once corrupt system is now rebelling against its old masters. Once manipulated machinery is collapsing due to its own inconsistencies. Once protective walls are now being used as prison cells. Now, each falsified signature turns into more proof. Now, every broken rule serves as evidence of guilt. Once believed to be untraceable, every stolen cash is now instantly traced back through digital highways. Deception is impossible in your presence because of the shift in your spiritual frequency. Corrupt officials who used to be at ease lying to you now feel physically uncomfortable when they try to be dishonest. Everyone who enters your sphere of influence is forced to communicate authentically by your energy field, which has turned into a truth detector. This is why people who are feeling guilty have found it harder and harder to interact with you. The true scope of criminal networks will be revealed by concurrent investigations being carried out by internal affairs units across several agencies. Certifications and credentials are about to be revoked by professional licensing boards. Lawyers who enabled crimes are facing disbarment proceedings from bar associations. Physicians who fabricated reports to aid persecution efforts are being looked upon by medical bodies. In trembling hands, phones no longer seem secure. As federal analysts decrypt encrypted conversations, computers no longer appear private. Because the truth has started its unrelenting march toward exposure, homes no longer serve as havens. And there is nothing that can halt the following step. As the extent of the betrayal becomes apparent, security clearances are being revoked throughout the administration. People suspected of utilizing state secrets to further personal agendas no longer have access to confidential information. Systematic background investigations are currently being used to rid the once corrupted intelligence machinery of malicious influence. The corrupt people's schemes purposefully delayed what should have been your prompt justice. You had to wait. You had to put up with years of persecution. While festivities took place behind closed doors, your patience was strained to the limit. Observe how anchors were buried deep in the bureaucratic muck, delaying what ought to have been your instant validation. Time was used against you as a weapon. Delay turned into a tactic used against your noble cause. Investigations into judicial misconduct are underway for administrative law judges who were tainted by unethical influence. Federal monitoring authorities are reviewing appeal procedures that were once tainted to deny you justice. Your documents were formerly lost due to bribery by clerks and bureaucrats. Are being prosecuted for obstructing justice. Even security personnel who were paid to bar you from entering government facilities are now facing charges of aiding and abetting human rights abuses. The corrupt took advantage of your fatigue and eventual submission to the injustice machine. It was thought that waiting would cause you to break. It was assumed that you would break under the strain of being put off. It was assumed that you would give up on your pursuit of justice and the truth. It was a knife-twisted system. Allies of criminals were shielded. Co-workers who were equally corrupt were asked for favors. In the middle of night, signatures were falsified. The security cameras abruptly stopped working, and evidence was tampered with. To continue the twisted game of persecution, that is. In fact, the cosmic batteries of punishment were being charged by your endurance during this trial period. Every painful moment you went through was being transformed into spiritual fuel for the final manifestation of justice. By utilizing your persecution as a lens through which to concentrate holy energy, the universe created a beam of correction so strong that it would instantly evaporate corruption. Defamation cases are being filed against media organizations that took part in disinformation efforts, revealing their involvement in the conspiracy. Press ethics boards are looking into journalists who accepted bribes to print untrue tales about you. Investigative reporters from rival networks are exposing the corruption of news executives who suppressed stories about corruption in the government. Your capacity to remain spiritually balanced in the face of systemic persecution has triggered latent DNA sequences that link you to networks of galactic intelligence. You are able to get direct direction from sources that surpass worldly wisdom through these routes of cosmic connection. In reality, the persecution served as an initiation procedure that equipped you to deal with the higher spiritual voltage that is currently coursing through your mind. However, the cosmic balance has shifted. It is no longer possible to dispute the resolution. Like a tsunami, it strikes. Unavoidable, unstoppable, and destructive to all corrupt things in its path. Long before you were ever targeted, the outcome was predetermined by the stars. Forces that are beyond our comprehension, control, and capacity to suppress have unearthed the truth. The universe has marked corruption for cosmic correction, and time is running short. Federal conspiracy provisions are being used to expose and convict private contractors who performed shady services. Court orders are dissolving shell businesses that were established to conceal activity. Leaders of mercenary groups that supplied the force for operations are being charged with terrorism, and government contracts are being revoked. Now, when you are genuinely chosen, I want to take a moment to tell you about the forces that come together to support you. During several incarnations, consider souls who have drank deeply from the well of forbidden knowledge. In ways that most people don't completely comprehend, these remarkable people have become your allies during this lifetime. When your persecution started, the call was recognized. Others flinched and took a step forward. The cosmic significance of your fight against systematic corruption was connected. The highest echelons of government were involved in the conspiracy, as evidenced by the sensitive information that retired intelligence agents who saw atrocities are coming forth with. Former military troops are appearing before congressional committees after being instructed to take part in unlawful surveillance operations. International tribunals are hearing testimony from diplomats who witnessed instances of corruption in overseas operations. It wasn't a coincidence that these buddies ended up in your orbit. Finding out the truth about your own choice isn't either. The archons pay attention when souls of this quality assemble around a targeted individual. The Lord loves a cheerful giver, 2 Corinthians 9 verse 7. Your joyful seed of $20, $50, or $100 into holy voices is more than money, it's faith in action. They are consumed by fear of this collective power. What occurs when the fully awakened come together and merge vibrations to support divine justice is understood. A worldwide network of selected ones that were previously functioning alone has been energized by your persecution. Your suffering has caused the parts of the cosmic puzzle, of which every one of you bears a piece, to come together to form a comprehensive picture of how spiritual warfare functions on a planetary scale. Persecution was required to bring this network to life and make the full extent of your group's goal visible. In government facilities, quantum scientists are recording quantifiable impacts of focused purpose on random number generators. Researchers studying consciousness are demonstrating that group meditation can affect political results. Intelligence agencies are receiving information regarding covert corruption from remote viewers that is not possible with conventional techniques. Technologies of justice that corrupt authorities never thought were feasible are emerging from the nexus of science and spirituality. Why are dishonest authorities unable to comprehend the same cosmic principles? Blindness to spirituality. Break with universal law. Worship of transient earthly authority rather than timeless truth. Operation takes place in dimensions so small that it is hard to perceive forces mobilizing against them until those forces materialize as handcuffs and jail sentences. The persecution you experienced has altered your DNA. The particular frequency of injustice you encountered has triggered genetic sequences that have lain dormant for generations. You gain knowledge and skills beyond what is typically possible for humans thanks to these active genes, which link you to ancient wisdom traditions and cosmic intelligence networks. Using skills that go beyond ordinary sensory awareness, psychic investigators are collaborating with law enforcement to find buried evidence. Energy healers are testifying about the metaphysical crimes done against specific people and recording the spiritual harm brought about by mistreatment by the government. Rituals carried out by shamanic practitioners expose the sinister spiritual forces that underlie societal corruption. You will be compensated tenfold for each minute that was stolen from you. Every delay strategy used will hasten demise at an unnatural rate. Perfect justice, perfect balance, and flawless symmetry govern the cosmos. And the foundations of corrupt empires will be reduced to cosmic dust as that equilibrium is going to be restored with such intensity. Now, your unique frequency emits on wavelengths that automatically draw divine protection and ward off evil forces. Because of this spiritual upgrading, any future attempts at persecution will be instantly undone by cosmic forces that react to your distress calls more quickly than emergency services do to everyday crises. Corruption will be tried for crimes against humanity in international courts. Human rights groups are recording targeted people being persecuted in a systematic manner. Regarding the treatment of dissidents and whistleblowers, the UN is looking into possible violations of international law. Extradition accords are being used to make it hard for people to evade prosecution by escaping to other nations. Now, the clock they controlled is ticking relentlessly and precisely against them. They now have power over the calendar, which counts down to their exposure. Their judgment day is rapidly approaching, as indicated by the schedules they set up to torment you. They will compress what they have stretched over long periods of time to prolong your pain into moments of complete devastation. Large databases of government communications are being analyzed by artificial intelligence algorithms to find corruption trends that human investigators might overlook. Corrupt politicians' next moves are being predicted with remarkable accuracy by machine learning systems. Encryption systems they thought would permanently preserve their secrets are being broken by quantum computers. Their attempts to delay have not succeeded. They are no longer delaying. Their extensions are no longer valid. They believed they could postpone the conflict indefinitely, but now it is rushing into its cosmic end. Nothing can impede a celestial body's relentless velocity as it hurtles across space toward impact. It cannot be diverted by anything. Nothing can stop the collision that will uplift your world and break theirs. SEC investigations and shareholder lawsuits are being brought against corporate leaders who made money off of their misconduct. Fraud charges are being brought against defense contractors that overcharged the government in return for preferential treatment. Class action lawsuits from product victims are being brought against pharmaceutical corporations that suppressed studies in return for regulatory protection. This plot against you was planned by several players. Instead, officials who took an oath to protect choose to persecute. Instead, leaders who vow to serve instead to destroy. Instead, representatives who profess to support justice plotted to keep it from you. All of them are tainted, compromised, and working together in a network of dishonesty that crosses departments and legal jurisdictions. Government contracts are being canceled for tech companies that supplied surveillance tools for unlawful domestic espionage activities, and their executives are being charged with crimes. Your civil rights are being probed by social media companies who suppressed your efforts to reveal corruption. Court cases alleging conspiracy to impede justice are being brought against internet service providers that banned your conversations. They felt invincible because of their positions of authority. They used their titles as a shield to avoid responsibility. Their offices became their immune fortresses. Their badges became into permits that allowed them to ruin lives with complete impunity. They worked in secret, using encrypted ways to communicate, gathering in rooms scouted for listening devices, and planning your demise while grinning in your face with skillful deceit. Accreditation assessments and federal funding are being withheld from academic institutions that supported their persecution campaign with fabricated studies. Think tanks are being revealed as dark money-funded propaganda machines that released fake studies to support their positions. Academic peers are taking disciplinary action against university lecturers who gave credence to their lies. Behind closed doors, they committed the most heinous crimes imaginable while feigning legality. They created documents that were wholly fake but looked authentic. They served corrupt interests while adhering to what appeared to be correct procedures. They perpetrated the most horrible injustice against a chosen soul while upholding the appearance of justice. Religious organizations that offered ethical justification for their persecution are being investigated internally and may lose their tax-exempt status. Their denominations are defrocking clergy members who blessed their acts. Court orders are dissolving charitable organizations that used money laundering to fund their operations and allocating their assets to their victims. However, they made the fatal mistake of focusing on you. The weight of cosmic purpose rests on your spirit. The fire of divine selection burns in your spirit. You, whose very presence jeopardizes the foundations of their filthy dominion. They didn't understand the cosmic importance of your presence. They overlooked the fact that you were selected by a force that was far more powerful than their menial earthly authority. They didn't realize that attacking you amounted to declaring war on the forces that have governed human history since the dawn of time. Information regarding their global network of corruption is being shared by international spy agencies. Arrests are being coordinated by Interpol on several continents. Foreign countries are freezing money stashed in foreign accounts and removing their agents. International courts are exposing and prosecuting the corruption they exported to other nations. It was no coincidence that you were chosen. Your journey wasn't a random one. Long before any of you ever breathed on this earth, your battle with corruption was etched in the stars. Now, the web they meticulously woven is coming apart at an unnatural rate. Every thread breaking, every connection severing, every conspirator being revealed one by one in a series of events that intensifies with each new discovery. The platforms of alternative media sources that were shut down for exposing the truth are being reopened, and they are also getting paid for their losses. Prestigious press freedom awards are being given to independent journalists who were persecuted for looking into government wrongdoing. International human rights organizations are hailing citizen reporters who exposed their crimes as heroes. There is no stopping the unraveling. It will go on until all of the participants in this crooked system are stripped of their positions, their authority, and the very identity they prized above justice and truth. In real time, their network is crashing. With the desperation of animals in a corner, former allies turn against one another. In order to protect themselves, partners turn informants. Secrets to shorten their own words are revealed by confidence. Self-preservation becomes the only objective that matters, shattering their formerly impenetrable circle of safety. Contact details are erased, and ex-friends act as though they never knew one another. Former guardians say they were unaware of the illegal actions they assisted in planning. Former accomplices get ready to testify against their former criminal companions. Like a house of cards in a cyclone, the hierarchy they so carefully built now collapses from within. They toyed with justice as if it were their own toy. In their perverse game of corruption and power, they made you the pawn. In their corrupt chess game, they set you up as the sacrifice. They exposed you to scrutiny and persecution you never deserved while manipulating the system to hide their own illegal conduct. With practiced accuracy refined by years of corruption, they placed the responsibility on your shoulders. They made up such complex lies about you that they nearly believed them themselves. They congratulated themselves on eliminating yet another challenge to their corrupt dominion as they celebrated their treachery against you and toasted their cunning at elite clubs. Give, and it will be given to you, Luke 6 verse 38. When you bless holy voices with $20, $50, or even $100 through super thanks, you are opening the windows of heaven over your own life. Your anguish became their amusement as your name was handed back and forth between them like a trophy of victory. Their haughty laughter was fueled by your struggle. Like junkies seeking their next high, your persecution offered them a sense of control and power. But now, with the power of cosmic justice, the roles have been reversed. And the hopeless despair of the damned have become their laughing. Their files aren't merely being looked at anymore. With forensic accuracy, they are being dissected. Every document is examined by professionals who are able to spot even the smallest discrepancy. Every choice is scrutinized by detectives who are aware of corrupt practices. Through digital traces they believed to be permanently removed, every activity was linked to its illegal origin. Their emails are being recovered from servers they thought were safe and out of the hands of the authorities. Digital locations they believed to be private havens are yielding their erased messages. Experts in handwriting who are able to identify even the slightest departure from genuine documents are examining their fake signatures. They are exposed to an unforgiving cosmic spotlight that misses nothing and forgives less because of the ruthless intensity of the light of truth. There are no more shadows to hide in. There is no more darkness to hide their misdeeds. Just the brutal, illuminating light that exposes them for what they truly are, corrupt, criminal, and decried by their own deeds and decisions. They were oblivious to the wisdom stacked against them because of their conceit. They were playing chess in multiple dimensions, anticipating their every move, setting traps they voluntarily walked into, and setting them up for the ideal cosmic checkmate that is currently playing out in front of your very eyes, all the while they were playing checkers and believing they were masters of political manipulation. The game they thought they were playing turns out to be nothing more than the prelude to a far bigger battle in which they were bound to lose. The time they prematurely celebrated their victory turned out to be the beginning of their last defeat. In legal proceedings and public opinion, the authority they displayed turns into evidence that convicts them. Now, they face federal charges for every rule they violate. Now, all of their lies are solemn declarations of their guilt. Their indictment now includes every instance of corruption. Now, with machine-like efficiency, the very system they control directs all of its analytical might toward revealing every facet of their criminality. The power they misused is now poised to impose punishments with ruthless accuracy. As we speak, officers are being raided. Federal agents confiscated the files. Evidence accumulated in cases that will totally ruin them. They tainted the system. They distorted the system to suit their purposes. They felt that the system would always shield them from repercussions. Their demise has been facilitated by that very system. The masks of authority no longer conceal their dread. Like poisonous filth, it seeps out of their pores. Their rehearsed smiles turn into terrified grimaces. When people grab for phones they know are tapped, it causes their hands to shake. The odor of their despair now accompanies them everywhere. They are now frantically frenzied, deleting files that have already been backed up, shredding documents that have already been copied, calling emergency meetings that are being recorded, making alibis that contradict their own prior statements, and preparing scapegoats who refuse to take responsibility for their superiors' crimes. Their toxic presence is evident to anyone who encounters them. However, their attempts are in vain. They have already secured the evidence against them in several places. Their titles can no longer be used to hide their deceit, their power or their ties to other dishonest public servants. Their credibility breaks like a piece of glass on concrete. Like paper in a fire, their reputations crumble. The same people who used to be afraid of them now gloat over their demise. The co-workers who formerly stood by them are now frantically attempting to get clear of the impending conflagration of legal action and public shame. Now their deceit is completely revealed. Court filings and news stories expose every falsehood, every deception, and every misuse of authority. Take a moment to think about that. I have a very important matter that requires your attention. Through this weekly Zoom call, we're sharing all we know about personal power, healing oneself, and healing others. No holding back, no filters. All of the occult secrets we have accumulated during actual years of spiritual practice have been subtly added. Those who are willing to follow the same route can now access the methods and knowledge that helped us go from controlled porn to conscious artists. You are cordially invited to support our platform and become a member of Holy Voice's Inner Order, so that we can keep expanding our megaphone in order to reach more selected individuals who are awaiting activation. Joining the Holy Voice's Inner Order gives you access to more than simply knowledge that is prohibited. You're joining a movement that is changing the very fabric of reality. All of us benefit from it. The description contains a link. And the very system they attempted to control has imprisoned them. The laws they violated are now inflexible. The regulations they disregarded are now doubly applicable. Now, with the full might of federal law enforcement behind them, the authority they misused focuses entirely on punishing their crimes. They are not going to fail. Here, their demise is being played out in real time. Brick by tainted brick, the stronghold they constructed now collapses around them in a cascade of repercussions. They are no longer able to hide from the justice they cannot avoid in the haven they established through bribery and intimidation. The stronghold they thought was impenetrable suddenly shows deadly flaws in its foundations that were always present but waited for the appropriate opportunity to be exposed. Federal agents obstruct their emergency escape routes. When accomplices decline to assist, their backup plans fall through. Just when they need their backup systems the most, they break down. They did not make a mistake, make a poor decision, or misunderstand you in any way that could be justified. It was a deliberate, well-planned assault on your identity, your core, and your divine mission in this world. They attempted to put out your light by persecuting you in a methodical manner. They saw your strength and were resolved to utilize their position of power to undermine it. They chose to eliminate it before it could endanger their crooked empire because they saw your potential. The deepest reaches of spiritual jealousy gave rise to their acts against you. They wanted what you had by nature, the access to cosmic powers that they would never have. They yearned for the power that came from being in harmony with the universal truth, the power that flowed through you naturally. They hated what you truly stood for, the morals they had compromised for short-term jobs and short-lived power. However, your cosmic coronation is about to commence, and their reign of depravity is coming to an end. Due to elements they are unable to calculate, what they took from you will be restored in greater quantities than before. The cosmic energy that removes all barriers will release everything they have stopped from your path. Everything that was taken from you is now being replaced by the universal powers of abundance, which multiply at 7 times through interest compounded across dimensions. Not silently, but with a loud public vindication, your name will be cleared. The striking contrast between their corruption and your integrity will not just partially but fully restore your reputation. Opportunities that are in line with your divine mission will not only restore your resources, but multiply them. Not only will your standing be restored, but it will be boosted to levels they could never achieve. In addition to cash compensation, you will receive cosmic protection so strong that you will never again be harmed by such attacks. They won't understand the energies that will protect your essence. They can't match the powers that will protect your energy. Cosmic laws will guard your route. They cannot break them without suffering instantaneous destruction. Not only do you emerge from this fight unscathed, but you have significantly increased your strength. They launched their assault. Not lessened, but raised to levels of impact they never thought were conceivable. Not diminished, but given more strength than you had prior to the commencement of this conflict. Their persecution has shaped you into a force of nature that they should never have dared to oppose, rather than a victim. With the power of cosmic law, the universe has singled you out, designated you, and selected you for this time when corruption crumbles and truth triumphs. When others would have buckled beneath the strain, you stood. When others might have given in to their intimidation, you remained strong. When all the evidence pointed to the end of hope, you still believed in justice. And now, as they deal with the fallout from their decisions, you have won. Their foundation falls to dust, but yours stays solid. While their history crumbles into obscurity, yours endures unabated. While their purpose fades into oblivion, yours moves forward unstoppably. You are standing on the edge of dimensions they cannot see, entering worlds they cannot conjure, and controlling forces they cannot quantify or comprehend. They witness in real time as everything they've built falls apart around them while they frantically scramble. You enter a world where their meddling is irrelevant. Their threats are powerless. Their sheer presence ceases to matter in your ongoing rise to positions of power and influence. They cannot see the doors that suddenly open for you. They can't see the paths that appear in front of your feet. They are unable to reach the dimensions in which the opportunities are present. While they go backward into scarcity, you advance into abundance. While they shrink into small areas of helplessness, you reach out into new spheres of influence. While they drop to depths they once sentenced others to experience, you ascend to heights they once occupied. The cosmic reversal is absolute, irreversible, and complete. They never once imagined that you would be the target of this day. Their depraved imaginations never considered the prospect that you might win. When they collapse in defeat, they never imagined you standing tall. They never imagined you going up as they went down in shame. They never envisioned situations in which your strength grew rapidly while theirs decreased. As you bless this ministry, you bless yourself. Sow into holy voices with $20 or more and trust God for your harvest. You have broken their assumptions about how power functions in this world, disproved their predictions, and defied their expectations. However, here they are, weeping over the empire they thought could not be destroyed, lamenting the prestige they believed would always be theirs, and lamenting the positions they believed were their birthright. And here you are, unaffected by their sorrow, unaffected by their tears, and unstoppable in your forward motion toward a future they attempted to thwart but were only able to accelerate. Forces that are much more powerful than any human organization, earthly government, or corrupt system they could create or manage have taken you back. This is how it was always going to end for you. Cosmic forces that are beyond human comprehension predetermined your victory. Universal laws that corrupt officials cannot understand or avoid dictated your victory. Since the first time they took action against you, you were bound to be vindicated. Before their first document was falsified, it was written in the cosmic ledger. Like bodies in water that can't be kept submerged forever, the evidence against your persecutors was certain to come to the surface. The very rock they brought in an attempt to taint your noble aim was the one that would ultimately bring down the system that had turned against you due to its own corruption. This is the story's last stroke from the hammer of justice that awoke at the start. Not by your hand, but by the hand of global justice, which destroys itself from inside by means of corrupt systems. That precisely retaliates malicious intents against their creators. That guarantees actions taken in secret will be judged in the light of truth. Your adversaries have been targeted by the raids. The dishonest officials who misused their position of authority have fallen from the peaks they reached via deceit. Through the power of cosmic law, the truth about your innocence has triumphed. The cosmos has delivered its judgment through repercussions that reverberate throughout eternity, and your coronation is complete. Rest in the total knowledge that what was intended to harm you has only made you invincible, from the first minute of their conspiracy to this last moment of your vindication. Your actual impact on this world has only begun, despite what was intended to conclude your purpose. What should have been your climax has become only the first chapter in the cosmic tale of your rise to authority they will never comprehend, influence they will never exercise, and power they will never have. The circle is finished. Justice has won out. Your adversaries have been defeated. And you are triumphant, the chosen one, just as the cosmos had planned from the beginning. Beloved soul, if this message has spoken to your heart, don't let it end here. Click that like button so the light can spread to more people who need hope. Subscribe to Holy Voices so you never miss the next word heaven has for you. And leave a comment below. I read every one, and I pray over them. Remember, faith grows when we share it, so share this message with someone who needs to hear it today. Until we meet again, may God's peace cover you and His voice guide your every step.